Good evening. This is Sonia Faloyan, and tonight I really want to talk to you about an upcoming event that I think is very important for any of you who are thinking about moving abroad, or if you're thinking about just spending a little extra time abroad beyond your typical vacation time. Exodus Summit 2024 will be this coming weekend, starting October 11th through the 14th. It is actually the school for moving abroad for Black women. It was created to create a sacred and special place for Black women to talk about special and unique issues that we have, for us to join and become community and to support one another in making what is oftentimes a very large decision to leave our country of origin and to go someplace else. It's a wonderful networking opportunity, and even more so, it provides so much information, so much how to do it strategies, and very offers also some very creative ways of looking at making these kinds of decisions. And I wanted to just share, really, I want to do a quick and dirty dozen reasons why you should attend this year's Exodus Summit. If it's been in your heart and mind at all to do this, you just didn't know how to do it, or you were thinking about it, or you've been on the fence about it, you're afraid what your parents would think, your aging parents would think, what your friends would think, what your family would think, what your children would think. Attending this summit, I think, really will provide you with some of the resources, the strength, and the support to navigate those challenges easily. So I wanted to share some of the topics that are going to be discussed at this summit. I think the lineup really is absolutely wonderful. It's probably one of the best out of the 5 years. Every 5 years, every year, the lineup has been superb and stellar, but I think this year is going to be the best so far. We're going to be kicking off by talking about rest is sacred, just how important rest is, especially to Black women. We have been trained and socialized, and society expects us to fill in all the gaps, to solve the problems, to be the soft shoulder, to be the mammy, to be all, the end all, the ever ending comfort pillow. But what we don't often talk about is how exhausting that is and how often exhausted, tired, and depressed we are as a community. So we're going to really begin to talk about how important rest is and how sacred rest is as a practice to our overall well-being and health. We are not going to be able to continue running on E. Our communities really do need us, but our communities need us to be whole and rested, thinking clearly, making the best decisions. So talking about rest is important. This has been a very important topic to me for many years now, and certainly has been part of the focus of my own practice, in my own coaching practice, but also in terms of my life as an artist. Um, Getting some extra rest and reflection and some distance away from my normal routine was in part what allowed me to make the decision to move abroad. We're also going to be talking about how less is liberation. I think this is so important. We are so The United States it's a consumer based society. We are socialized to buy something all the time. Every month is a new celebration to buy something. The country runs on consumerism. It's not enough to have something. You have to have the next best thing. You have to have the most expensive thing. And if that's not enough, you have to have even more than that. It's a never ending hamster wheel. And I think about all of the collections, all the things that I had in the United States, all the pairs of shoes I had, all the purses that I had, all the collections of this and that and that and this, things that I thought were important, things that were aesthetically beautiful, but they were collections of things. And how being able to live in other places, spending time in Europe, and seeing how people do with less space, who are more focused on family and community and values. and how that is certainly a highlight of how I live here in Mexico, too. The focus is not so much on things, the focus is more on the quality of the relationships that you have and the time that you have. We're also going to be talking about healthcare abroad, and my YouTube sister, Danica Cook, is going to be doing that session. Um, I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Medical care is of course a concern that we need to think about. And I'm looking forward to what Danica is going to bring based upon her own years of experience in the medical field as a doula, and also just in terms of the research that she's done on this topic. Okay, we're going to be talking about schooling kids abroad. This is a very important topic. Many of us have children and grandchildren that are going to be needing education while on the road. I know I'm looking forward to my own grandson spending some time abroad this in 2025. Being able to look at how people are homeschooling and taking care of their educational needs on foreign soil, whether they're doing it digitally or what creative groups they're able to join. I think this is going to be a very, very important topic for those of us who are interested in the education of our families and our friends, young people abroad. The next ones will be medical preparations for living abroad. Again, being able to have your ducks in a row, knowing what you need to look for, what you need to take care of before you make the move, or even after you settle. Being able to take care of those preparations makes us feel better. We're more organized, more secure. So that's going to be another great topic. Rashida Dow is going to be talking about residency visas, citizenship, and legal options to stay abroad. You know, once we get abroad, then what do we have to do to stay here? How do we do that while we're waiting for our residency? Once we get residency, what do you do what are the steps in that particular country to get citizenship if that's what you desire? So that's going to be a very important topic. And obviously, the information is going to vary from country to country. So that'll be a really good workshop to listen into as Rashida Dow talks about this and her experiences in living various places since she retired early and began her trips around the world. The next one I think is very, very important, and that's preparing our aging parents for your move abroad or for our move abroad. For those of us who still have parents, who aging parents, how do we get them ready for the decision that we've made? How do we find ways to stay engaged and to take care of them in these very important years of their lives as we make the decision to move abroad? That's going to be a very, very important topic. If that's something that you're wrestling with, struggling with, I think that would be an excellent topic for you to tune into. There's going to be a session on rising fascism. And the topic is the urgency of leaving the United States, in the face of rising fascism. That's going to be done by a social activist. And we certainly do need to think about, just what are the political implications of being in the United States at this time? What are the changing factors? What are the pieces that are coming together? How are they playing out? What will be the consequences of the election, regardless of who is in office? How are we going to be treated? We know that hate crimes against Black people and immigrants increased a lot under the former administration. So, being able to really look at what's happening around the world in terms of fascism and where might be the safest places for us to be and to situate ourselves. Do we need to make some moves? This would be a great workshop to attend. Also, we're going to be talking about the art of the ask. What are the strategies? What are the strategies for getting the leave that you want? For those of you who are still working and you have to work through your HR department on your job, women are getting leave to leave the country and to take sojourns and sabbaticals. They're getting leave to take rest. There are some strategies that they're using to take advantage of the benefits that are that are built into their jobs. They're also finding creative ways to talk to HR about their need to take that time. So if you are working and currently not sure just how in the world you're going to be able to take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks off, 2 months off, 3 months off, 4 months off, 6 months off, this would be a great session for you to attend. The next, another topic will be co-living in aging community. I think this is such a timely topic. Looking at how people are able to share their living experience, their living expenses. How are they able? How can you maintain your autonomy but create community? I've been living in a co-living community for the last 3 years, and it's been absolutely wonderful. We all have our private quarters in our refurbished boutique hotel that's been converted into living space. There are communal areas that we can utilize if we choose to. We don't have to. And because all of us are creatives and we are doing a lot of moving around a lot, traveling back and forth, there are many times when we are actually the only ones in our building. So we have many opportunities for privacy, but we also have ways to come together as we need to. We do have house cleaning services in our building. We have a gardener. We also have a large chef's kitchen. So if we want to, we can hire someone to help us with cooking or to do a meal for us if we choose to. There are some expenses that we share. There are some expenses that are on our own. Co-living is a broad term that really talks about ways that people are finding to share some aspects of living. So it's not a new term, but it is catching on, especially with the rising cost of housing everywhere, especially in the United States. So it's definitely something to consider for those of you who are open to it. There's going to be a workshop called "Go Where You Breathe Free." I think the title just sounds so wonderful to me. One of the things that has been important for me is being in places where I don't feel like I am under surveillance all the time. Because of my social justice activist work, I was under scrutiny quite a bit for a number of years, while I was raising children. And I have had some very unpleasant experiences with the police and with jail. So it was very important for me to be able to be in a place where I could breathe and not feel like people were actually looking for people who look like me. I had a wonderful experience in Guanajuato, Mexico. In the last couple of weeks, I was with a friend doing some window shopping with a good friend of mine who came to visit me. One of my junior high school best friend, and a policeman came up to us while we were walking, and I don't have the same visceral reaction when police approach me now that I used to have. When I was in the USA, it would always be stressful. I would feel nervous. I would get a knot in my stomach. So I wasn't quite there because I haven't had that experience here, but I was a little taken aback because he came right up to me. And he introduced himself and he told me his name. I'm Officer so and so and so and so. I'm part of the Guanajuato Police Force. We are here to welcome you. What? We want you to know that if you have any needs, if there's anything that you need, please let us know. We're stationed here, there. He and his partner were on bicycles, a male and a female. They were both so pleasant. He shook our hand. He gave me his card. If you're, well, first thing he asked was, do you prefer to speak? Do you speak English or Spanish? And I said, I do speak Spanish. I said, but for this interaction, I would prefer to speak English. He said, no problem. He spoke to me in English. He handed me his card. He said, if you need anything while you're here in Guanajuato, please let us know. We're here to serve you in the public, and we wish you a wonderful stay in Guanajuato. And then he and his partner rode off on their bicycles. That is not an experience I'm accustomed to in the United States. And it has happened to me several times here in Mexico. So the topic is go where you breathe free. It's important to be able to be in places where we can breathe free and not have anxiety and stress about just being a human being. Let's see. There's also one called expat. There are several on money. One in particular is going to be called Expat Money Moves. There's also another one I think called Quick and Dirty Math, calculating moving abroad. Um, and there's also going to be a session on called Move Abroad Fails to Avoid. I think that's going to be a good one because you'll get a chance to hear people talking about their experiences, what they did that didn't work, or some of their moves that were not successful. And those things are always helpful because they help us to avoid those pitfalls. So I just named 14 reasons why you should attend this year's Exodus Summit 2024. It's going to be a good one. If you're on the fence, get off the fence, get on off of there, as I've said in my other postings. Get on off the fence, register, join us. It's a great sisterhood. This year's workshop is geared for Black women and their families who are thinking about, interested in, making plans to move abroad. I hope to see you there this weekend. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity. There's so much built into it. There's rest, there's fun, and I think that the leaders really, really do a good job of modeling how we take care of ourselves, how we are to take care of ourselves as we're making these moves. I will have a link to for you to click on and join. Don't wait. Time is running out. We will be starting that week, that Exodus Summit 2024 this weekend, October 11th. I hope to see you there. All right, I'll talk with you later. Thanks.